Through the generous contribution of Dr. Lewis's family, we're very fortunate to be able to share with you these timeless recordings of Dr. M. W. Lewis, a self-realized American yogi. Dr. Lewis was Paramahansa Yogananda's first American disciple and dearest personal friend. The wisdom Dr. Lewis imparts through these teachings will give you a dynamic and practical insight into the ancient science of yoga as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. This lecture's title is Changing Habits at Will, and was delivered in Hollywood, California on July 29, 1956.
Changing habits at will. Changing habits at will. To discuss this subject, we should have some knowledge of just what habits are and their power. If you know what a thing is, you have the knowledge of it, you can cope with the conditions that arise in connection with that particular thing. And so, in regard to habits, we should first know what habits are, and then wherein lies the power of habit. And I'm sure we all agree that it has power. Habit has great power. Now, habits are, as you know, I'm sure, are automatic mental machines to eliminate the use of will in every action we perform. They are an economy of nature. If you don't believe that, you stop to think. Now, the next time that you start walking down the church or any place, you have to think and use your will to take the step, and every step you take is going to be quite a task, isn't it? So you see, habits are automatic mental machines whereby you do not have to exercise free will every time you do a thing. We can apply this to our everyday life, our everyday work. Habit saves us an awful lot. Think of making a bed and having to think of placing that sheet just right, using your will, every little movement, but you do it and it's automatic. So habit is a very good thing in that respect. It saves us the exercise of free will, taking up all our time and preventing us from doing many, many other things. So habit is just that. Now, habits can be good or bad. If they're good, that's fine. But if they're bad, they have just as much power when they're bad as they do when they're good, and it seems sometimes as if they have more power. That is, the bad habits have more power. Now, except for this habit, this law of habit, we would stay as little children. We'd remain as little children, thinking everything we did, every step we took, every action we performed. We'd have to think it out and use our will to do it. But by habit, it becomes automatic, and it's a most wonderful thing. So when we walk, we just walk. When we do our daily duty, we just do it. When we drive the auto, we look around a little bit and drive. Why? Because of habit. So habit is very essential, but one thing we must not forget is that it can be used for good or bad. And habit, realize, is an automatic process. That therein lies the danger. Now, the power of habit is this, that because of its automatic nature, it causes us to do things we're accustomed to do. Now, in that one thing is the power of habit. Because it's automatic, and because it is automatic, we do the things we are accustomed to do. So when we have bad habits, we're accustomed to do them, it's automatic to do it. That therein lies the power of habit. When we have good habits of meditation, self-realization, we do it. It's automatic, isn't it? After you know how. At first, I must admit, it is not automatic. You have to learn to do it. And so the power of habit, realized, comes in this one phase of it being an automatic thing, making us do what? The things we are accustomed to do, not perhaps the things we should do. Realize that. Now, we have in ordinary human beings, they're doing those things which they are accustomed to do, day in, day out, whether they're good or bad, because of the power of habit. And if it is bad action, they keep doing it, because it's natural. That's the law. It's automatic, like walking. You don't have to think even. Master used to say, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Do a little work, go home, sleep, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there you have it. Remember that. Next time you start out somewhere to say, now listen, is this what I want to do, or is it what I'm accustomed to do? And you'll find a lot of it is what you're accustomed to do. Then you have to, well, we'll come to that later. I mustn't get ahead of myself here. Because it's a habit, it's a subject which doesn't offer too much field of explanation. Habit is habit, that's all. Everybody knows it and does it. But we'll point out the good and the bad of habit. Now, one thing I must also point out, the ordinary man performs his habit, does those things which he is accustomed to do. Now, a child of God does what? A child of God follows Jesus' words when he says, seek first the kingdom of heaven. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. And so, his habit is to attain God contact, to form the habit of meditation. How can you seek God first unless you meditate? I don't think you can. Meditate